Hello out there, everybody. How is it going out there? Dane here from moving to Canada. And I want to start by thanking you all so much for joining us today for our live stream on banking in Canada for newcomers, presented in partnership with Simplii Financial. And I'm excited to see we've got a bunch of people hopping into the stream already. So if you are watching, whether you're tuning in live with us on Facebook or whether you are watching this video later on YouTube, drop us a comment and let us know where you are tuning in from. I'm always super curious to know where our audience is watching from, because usually we've got people from all around the world. So it's very, very fun to see that. And just another note, if you are watching later on YouTube, this will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Just know that you can use the timestamps right down there in the description to jump ahead if there are certain sections that
audio
interest you
capture
more
not
than
registered.
others. So today we are going to be deep diving into banking in Canada for newcomers, telling you a bunch of important stuff you should know as newcomers. And look, this applies whether you are already in Canada or whether you are still in the process of planning your move. And we're also going to be talking about a very interesting trend we've been seeing happening in Canadian banking lately, which is the move digital. I mean, everything is moving digital these days. If you're an immigration applicant, you've seen that in the past year. IRCC has moved a bunch of stuff online, and banking is no exception to that trend. So joining us today to help break down all of these topics is the Senior Director of Deposits and Investments at Simplii Financial, the talented, the brilliant, the incomparable Rohini Dhowan. So Rohini, thank you so much for joining us for the live stream today. How are you doing?
Thank you. That was a really great intro. I've never been introduced like that, but thank you. And because this is recorded, now I have proof. So I'm going to send it to my family and say, I would like to be introduced like this always.
I feel like the 3-word introduction is I'm giving you the royal treatment here.
That's right. This is great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And you're based in Mississauga, right?
That's right. From the lovely Port Credit area. It's a really great neighborhood. We moved here about 4 years ago, and we absolutely love this neighborhood. It's close to the water, and it's kind of like that small town feel, even though we're part of a bigger city. Everybody knows each other. So if you go around for walks in the neighborhood or your local grocery store, and there's so many small businesses here that we support within the community, and it's really great. So we've loved every minute of it.
Yeah, that's very cool. We were actually in Mississauga last week filming stuff, and I spent a bunch of time in Port Credit, and it was a lovely little
audio capture not registered.
And Rohini, you immigrated to Canada yourself, right?
I did. So I came to Canada as a international student in 2002. I came here for my undergrad. I went to the University of Western Ontario, UWO.
Okay, nice.
So really, really great experience. So yeah, went through kind of all the different trials and tribulations of being a newcomer, like starting off as an international student, figuring things out, and then started working here, had to apply for my work permit, and honestly, and obviously this is many years ago. I'm not going to date myself, but it was many years ago, and the process looked quite different. And just knowing people now who are going through the process, even though I know it feels very hard, but trust me, it was so much harder. The rules, the regulations, what you needed to have, like we weren't even allowed to work as students. We couldn't work at off-campus jobs.
Oh,
So
really?
Yes.
Okay.
So the only way you could earn some sort of income was to basically be employed by the campus. So doing campus jobs. So I worked at the office of the registrar, the bookstore. There's only so many places you can go. But so it was things like that that made it quite tough. And, even from that perspective of, okay, so now you're done your university, you're looking for a job. Firstly, the window, like the grace period that we got back then was a lot shorter. We basically had up until our work permit expired to find full-time employment. And, and this is literally I'm talking like 15 years ago, that, at that time, there wasn't a lot of
SWB audio
awareness
capture,
within the
not
employers on
registered.
how to even
Mm-hmm.
onboard an international worker, right? Because not a lot of them were familiar with the rules and regulation, and I know it still is like, you see it as a bit of a hassle versus, getting somebody who's already here and is
Yeah.
Canadian. So it had to go through that, but I was able to, get a job, get some employment, and then, was here on a work permit until I was eligible to apply for my permanent residency, which I will say, having been a permanent resident and then applying for my immigration, becoming a
Mm-hmm.
Canadian, the permanent residency process is way harder than
Yeah,
applying for
honestly.
citizenship. It
Yeah.
is so much harder. So even that was quite the tribulation. But here we are. Here we
Yeah.
are.
Well, and for people who are watching who are outside Canada, I mean, like, obviously the immigration process is complicated. It takes some time, but a lot of things have been simplified between, I mean, I'm sorry you had to go through the very complex
That's
process,
right.
Rohini, but like now all international students are eligible to work 28 hours while they're studying, whether on campus or off campus. They've created some like easier work permits to apply for, or made the same work permit easier to apply for when international students graduate, and they've created a bunch of pathways for permanent residents that sort of prioritize international students. They did that earlier this year in response to COVID. They created this new pathway. 40,000 international graduates were eligible to apply through that pathway. It was super popular too. It filled up in like 24 hours. Great. So thank you so much for the introduction, Rohini. And it looks like we do have some people tuning in here. So we're going to jump into the educational portion here in just a moment.
audio
but
capture,
a couple of housekeeping things just before we get going. First, we are live, so you can ask us questions. Post your questions into the comment section. We will be answering some questions throughout the stream. We may or may not be able to get to all of them, but just write them in the comment section and we'll do our best. And if you do have questions specific to Simplii Financial and their new to Canada offer, we do have an amazing representative who's one of the creators of that program, Mariam Mashiri, who's tuning along. She's in the comment section, so she'll be able to like type out some answers for you if you've got questions, especially like more specific questions about that offer or about the technicality of banking. And Mariam, maybe you can like post a comment now and introduce yourself, or like a GIF of like Ryan Reynolds waving or something like that, just so people know where to look for you. And finally, as we've mentioned, this event is produced in partnership with Simplii Financial, and they do have a super cool offer for you folks to check out. No fee banking options specifically designed for newcomers to Canada. So again, whether you're already in Canada or whether you're still in the process of planning your move, I do strongly encourage you to check that out, which you can do just by clicking the link there in the pinned comments. So we have got our housekeeping out of the way. I do see Ivan just asked how long the webinar will be. We'll try to have this wrapped up in about an hour, so 50 minutes or so. And we do have people tuning in from all over the world here. I see Ilse from South Africa, soon to be in Vancouver, Chris from the Bahamas, and some people in Canada too, Pindle in Calgary and Hugo in Montreal. So we do have people from around the world, which is pretty cool. So we've got the housekeeping out of the way. People are buzzing in the comments. I'm buzzing in the hosting seat. How are you feeling, Rohini? Ready to jump into it?
Pretty good. Let's do this.
Okay,
let's do this. So here's what we're going to be covering
SWB
today.
audio
We're
capture,
going to start by talking about
registered.
sort of bank account basics, so what bank accounts are used for in Canada. And then we're going to cover two really important foundational topics you need to understand if you're a newcomer, which is the importance of building credit history in Canada and a closely related concept, credit cards in Canada. Then we're going to address, who is eligible to open a bank account in Canada. And we've got a bunch of questions ahead of time in our Facebook discussion thread about, is it possible to open an account overseas? And in many cases, yes, it is. So as you can see on this slide, we're going to do a whole breakdown of how to open your bank account while overseas. And then I'm going to give Rohini a chance to talk through Simplii Financial's no-fee banking options for newcomers. And we will end off with some questions if you guys have any questions remaining at the end of the stream. So let me just open up our Facebook thread, see if we've got a bunch of people from other countries too. Yeah, and I see questions are already coming in. Tom asked us about opening a bank account before he arrives, so we are going to address that in a little bit. And Cecile is thanking us for doing the live stream. You're welcome, Cecile. We're happy to be here. So let's get into the educational meat of this. And Rohini, this is your time to shine. I'm moving on to our slide about bank accounts in Canada. So Rohini, what can you tell our audience about what bank accounts are used for in Canada, and maybe the most important things that a newcomer should know about banking in Canada?
For sure. So I would say, at a very basic level, if you think about it, a bank account in Canada is to enable living your daily life. So, common things that you would normally need a bank account for is, most common is purchasing something, going to stores, using your card, everything everybody's familiar with, having that debit card that's tied to your account that you can use to make purchases.
SWP
So
audio
that's,
capture not
definitely
registered.
a very common use. The other one, which is also quite common, is obviously being able to write checks for different things, people paying rent, or you're paying for a service, that related to how you're living here. That is definitely a use of it, to be able to access your money through a check and be able to pay somebody else. Another way of using it, which may not be as common in other countries, is this idea of the Interact e-transfers, which is basically an email money transfer. It's a more commonly used term to describe this, which actually is there's different names and different services in other countries that provide the same service, but it's very convenient, in the fact that you can send money to somebody just by using their email. So if they have a valid email address, and you needed to pay them again for the same services, or you were purchasing something, a very common one is going on Facebook Marketplace, and you see that lovely ottoman that you've wanted to, in your first home in Canada. I know a lot of people, as myself, when we first came here, we can't always afford buying things net new. So Facebook Marketplace and those sites really help a lot with that. And so, yeah, if you had to pay somebody for that item, you would be able to send them that money through an email, through an email money transfer, and they receive the money quite instantly. So, obviously the timing varies, but it can literally be within a couple of minutes that they would receive the payment, which is
Yeah,
really
and
great.
that's super common, as you mentioned, Rohini, in Canada. Like I use them on the weekend. I was out at a cottage with a couple of friends, and one person would buy groceries, and then I'd email transfer them my portion of the groceries. One person would buy dinner,
SWP
and we'd
audio
email transfer.
capture
Like
not registered.
I use it
Right.
all the time.
That's right. So that's quite convenient, and definitely a more common um, use for people who are in Canada and who bank in Canada. That's a quite common here. The other one, which obviously is very common, is obviously actually accessing your cash. So not always does a check or sending an email money transfer work, or using your debit card. You sometimes do need physical cash for different uses. So being able to use your card, going to an ATM, and being able to withdraw the money that you need, that is again very common for in the use case for having your account in Canada. Now, I will say, compared to a lot of countries, Canada is rather cashless, I will say, than
Yeah,
what some people might be used to
and
coming from
especially over the
other
last
places.
year, I found like I
Yes,
almost never carry cash anymore. During the pandemic, it was like pay for everything with your
that's right.
credit card or your debit card, and like I almost never take out cash.
That's right.
So yeah.
That's right. And, that's a good segue into just, like looking at the trends of how things have changed over the pandemic from a banking perspective. This idea of basically being able to do everything you need digitally and online very
Mm-hmm.
seamlessly. I think the reliance on digital banking has just increased tenfold just over the last 18 months, where we at Simply have been providing these services for a long time, but definitely saw a big spike in people moving and shifting their behaviors to digital banking. And
SWB audio
that's allowed
capture,
us
not
to
registered.
evolve and adapt, and to be able to better meet the needs of our clients who are now very heavily relying on all of their banking needs being digitally and online. So receiving feedback from our clients very regularly to say what else are they looking for, perhaps what was something that wasn't working, making it faster and easier to be able to do your banking online. And even like I would say from a segment perspective, perhaps folks in the older demographic that were maybe a little bit hesitant to use online banking or digital banking, were now looking at this as a very serious option, because it was a safety thing where they did not feel comfortable physically going into a branch and wanting to do those transactions there. They required this alternative to be able to do that from the comfort of their own home. So definitely Canada in general has been quite cashless, but even more so over the last 18 months, just in general, the
Mm-hmm.
trend and moving towards digital banking has just skyrocketed, which is
And
really great.
we've got an interesting question that's come in from Ivan, from Ivan, who's asking us, how often do you use cash? Like, what's the approximate percentage? And I know, Rohini, you don't know the exact percentage breakdown for Canadians, nor do I. But like, I'm just thinking anecdotally, like I'm trying to think of the last times that I've used cash. I feel like the only time that I take it out is if I'm maybe purchasing an object from somebody, and they like off of Facebook Marketplace, and they prefer a payment in cash, or
Right,
like maybe
right.
even a toll, like when I'm driving, like making sure I have a couple
Yeah.
bucks for that. Do you have any, like, what situations are you still using cash
Well,
for
I
these
can
days?
I can tell you, having two small kids, definitely when the
SWB
tooth
audio
fairy
capture,
visits,
not
she does
registered.
not take email money transfers, so we do have to give cash, and so definitely one of the use cases. And it's really, sometimes it is used for gifting. That is probably a common
Mm,
cash use, where for birthdays or anniversaries, people are still giving cash, which is nice, because you can use it for wherever you want. But
yeah.
yeah, so I would say very far and few between, like from an everyday living perspective. Do I personally feel like I have had to use cash? It's you really have to think, when was the last time
Yeah,
I used
that's it.
cash?
I was like, actually don't know. But that the birthday cards is a good example. I have 8 nieces and nephews, and I do that every birthday. I put $10
Yes.
in a card and send it to them, and yeah, that's one of the rare occasions. I do want to acknowledge that we've got a bunch of questions coming in. Teagle Pally asking about what stage of immigration it's good to open a bank account. Ivan also asked us about opening an account online once your visa is approved. Miller asking us about opening an account once you get your PR. We're going to talk about the options for opening your bank account from overseas before you come to Canada. It is possible if you are eligible. So we're going to talk about that, but only in a little bit. So stick with us, and we're going to just cover a few more basics for newcomers if they are banking in Canada. Is there anything else here that you'd like to
I
share
think
with our
I
audience about?
Yeah, and I think it's just to mention that obviously there's other products and services apart from just having like an account that a bank in Canada
Mm-hmm.
would provide, such as a credit card, which I think everybody's quite familiar with, and other financial products that again let you kind of start your life in Canada and enable that with things like getting a loan or getting a mortgage to
SWB
buy a
audio
house,
capture, not
investing
registered.
accounts, which is something I think a lot of newcomers are probably not that familiar with, but something that's very important to banking in Canada and your life in Canada, that you are probably educated on very quickly when once you start your relationship with your financial institution. So those options become more available, and you can learn more about those. So definitely many different benefits and uses of having an account in Canada, and applying it to how you want to live your life here.
Great. Yeah. And we're not going to go into like too deep onto those like more specific services that banks offer. But as you mentioned, Rohini, it's really worth educating yourselves once you are here. We've got some resources on our website. I'm sure that Simplii Financial also has some resources on all of those important financial concepts to understand. But we are going to stick to the basics, the really foundational information for people to know about. So I'm going to flip us over to our next slide here. And speaking of basics, credit cards and credit history and your credit score, these are concepts that are more common in some countries than others, although Canada, is a little bit unique in some respects. But they're really, really important concepts to understand if you are a newcomer, whether you're here or you're planning. So Rohini, can you talk our audience through credit cards in Canada, like why someone would use a credit card? And I suppose we've got some information about the credit score. So how does that factor in here as well?
Hmm. For sure. So it's, again, from a use case perspective, credit cards are used to make purchases. I think, again, from a concept perspective, it is probably more common in now foreign countries as well to be using credit cards, because we've got big issuers like Visa
SWB
and
audio
Mastercard. They're
capture
very well
not
known.
registered.
So this the concept of being able to use it for purchases is probably well understood. But to your point, the reason why you would want to get a credit card in Canada is to start building your credit history. And the reason why your credit history is important, because it really determines and establishes your kind of profile as how good are you as at managing debt. Like, so when a
Mm-hmm.
financial institution looks at you as a potential client, to be able to say, okay, if you wanted to buy a house from a certain point in your time, they would look back at your credit score to see, okay, how kind of what kind of liability do you have in order to say whether we should give you a mortgage or not? Are you going to be able to make your payments or not? That all is indicated within your score. And obviously the higher the score, the better. The
Right.
score is between the kind of the 300 to 900 mark, and the goal is to keep your score as high as possible and as good as possible without having too many kind of dings against it. One of the ways in which, like, let's say you get a credit card, you're starting to use it, one of the
Yeah.
ways to ensure that you keep increasing that score is to make your payments on time. That's the simplest way to
Yeah.
ensure that your credit score will not be impacted, and you're continue to be seen as a good client who can then look at other products that will help you in the future as your financial needs become more diverse,
Mm-hmm.
once you land in Canada. So,
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I was trying to think of a way to explain like a metaphor for the credit score and credit history when I was at the gym this morning. And
SWB
I
audio
did think of one,
capture
and I'm
not
curious what you think about
registered.
it. I was thinking of it like, you have kids, Rohini. Like when your kids ask, can I really want to get a dog. I really want to get a dog. And before getting a dog, you say, why don't we start off by getting you a fish? And we'll see if you can care for this
Right.
fish. And after you show us you
That's
can care
right.
for the fish, then we'll give you a dog. And I feel like that's like a good analysis for like
For sure.
adulthood credit scores. Show that you can manage a little amount of debt super well, and if you can do that, maybe we'll give you a bigger loan for something like a house
That's
or
right.
mortgage, like you mentioned.
No, that's a great one, and it really is your grade, right? Like it's a grade that
Hmm.
you get like in school, that your GPS, your average stays with you. The credit score stays with you as well in your
Yeah.
entire lifetime. So it is definitely important to ensure that you're continuing to keeping it at a healthy level. level to be able to, again, enjoy other benefits, right, of
Hmm.
banking in Canada as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, so those are definitely, the good reasons why you should get a credit card here. It is important from a longevity perspective in order to build your credit score. Now, the good thing is that with Simplii's cashback card, you actually do not need to have any credit history, which
Hmm.
again you know, is a huge barrier if you think about it from a newcomer's perspective, because it's like, well, I'm not, I'm not in the country yet. I've never had a credit card before, so how do I, uh, overcome this obstacle of being able to get a credit card and start building my history. So definitely we have simplified that. You do not need to have any credit history. One of the benefits is that so with credit cards comes your limits on how much you can
SWB
spend on
audio
that card.
capture not
So
Hmm.
our
registered.
limits are quite beneficial. You could get up to $10,000, and obviously the amount that you actually get approved on depends on your profile and your application and eligibility. But that's it's really helpful to have that because again, in a way, the higher your limit, the more you're able to use your card and
Hmm.
continue to build that history and to be able to again manage your finances and show that you're making those payments
Right.
to a certain point. And the great thing is with our cashback card that you actually get cashback for all your purchases. So as you're spending, you're also getting the benefit of having a percentage of that spend coming back to you right into your account that you can then use for something else, right? One of the great benefits of which I think is very applicable right now as people start to go out and explore and the economy opens up with being able to go to restaurants. You
Hmm.
get 4% cash back on all the purchases that you make
Whoa.
related to restaurants, as well as takeouts. So hey, you're still not comfortable. You liked the routine you had with ordering food over one of the very popular food delivery companies. That's still fine. You will still get the 4% back on your card. So it's really great. And like I said, there's obviously different tiers of the cash back that you get back. And so every dollar that you spend on the credit card, you are getting a percentage back in cash back, which is really great.
Yeah, that is great. It is a really great offer, as you mentioned, Rohini. It can be tough for newcomers who don't have that credit history in Canada to be eligible for these types to take on certain types of debt, and so Simplii's cashback visa sounds like a great option. And if you guys want more info
SWB
about that,
audio
again, just click the
capture
link there in the
not
pinned comment,
registered.
and it's all included on the Simplii offer page. We have had some good questions coming in here about credit history. So Jen asked us about her U.S. credit history transferring to Canada, and I'm going to broaden that a little bit for you, Rohini, and talk about not just the U.S. but people coming from other countries. They have established credit histories in those countries. Does that follow you to Canada, or are you kind of starting fresh?
I would have to get the exact answer for you. I do not want to be inaccurate on this. Miriam, I'm not sure if you have any background on this one. Does your credit history in kind of a foreign country help you in Canada? Maybe Miriam can uh, put in the response there. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that applying for a credit card in Canada would basically start your credit history fresh generally. I'm not sure about the
Yeah.
US though. That's actually a very good question.
Yeah, because
Whether
Canada and the
your
U.S. are
credit
so
history from the
closely linked.
US,
Yeah.
yeah, it is interesting, and I know it's very common for Canadians to also have a U.S. A credit card as well, because many Canadians do live cross-border lives, right? And
Yeah.
but because of proximity, a lot of people working there or students there, but are Canadian citizens. So and my husband being one of them, his work is mainly in the U.S., so he definitely has both
Mm.
credit cards and bank accounts as well. So that's an interesting question, and perhaps we can maybe get back to you guys in the comments on that one.
Yeah, so Miriam might jump in right now. We might come back and be able to provide you a bit more information later on, Jen. But we've got a couple other questions
SWB
that I
audio
found
capture not
interesting.
registered.
Where I've lost this one now, of course. Um, Phoebe, was it Phoebe who was? Oh no, it's Jenny was asking us. Like Jenny is from Singapore. So they don't carry cards with them in Singapore. So she was saying, do we need to carry a wallet to carry a card? Like, do you need a physical plastic card, Rohini?
See, it's very interesting because again, there's so many like, from coming from other countries. Canada is probably not the most advanced from a banking perspective. So I'm sure there's many viewers here who are light years ahead in terms of their banking practices than what actually happens in Canada. That's probably very common for them.
Yeah,
But the good
Singapore being like the financial hub of the
exactly.
world.
Exactly. But no, that's a really great question, and the answer is you do not. We actually have digital wallets, and for Simply specifically, you can download the app, and through the different payment apps, you can basically upload a digital version of your card and be able to tap on different terminals and be able to pay with your, call it, virtual card. So you do not need to actually carry the wallet.
Yeah, and I use my phone for that. So I have like the digital
That's
card
right.
loaded into my phone, so you just take your phone everywhere and like tap it on things.
That's it.
But you can also get a physical card if you want it.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes. And
like
we would issue a physical card to you with our accounts, and then you can just upload a digital version to your digital wallet.
great. Um, Perfect. And then we do still have a lot of people asking about overseas or outside of Canada account opening. So we are going to get to that.
We'll get the
We're getting there, kids. Just give us a moment.
SWB audio
And
capture
then for those
not
of you
registered.
asking about how to get a credit card, I saw a couple of people asking that. Again, check out Simplii's offer. Just click the link there in the pinned comment. And again, with their new to Canada banking offer, you may be eligible for that Simplii Financial Cashback Visa card. So I think we're going to jump ahead to our next slide here. Which is, I mean, we've kind of been talking around this throughout this whole live stream, but it's really an area that you are very knowledgeable about, Rohini, and that is digital banking in Canada, this trend towards digital banking. So maybe you can flesh this out a little bit more. I know we've touched on this a bit already, but what is this trend? What are we seeing, and how does Simplii fit into all that?
For sure. So, as mentioned, the trend in the last 18 months has definitely shifted more and more to being able to do all your banking digitally. And, whether it's using your account or, moving money around from your different accounts, moving funds around, moving funds from you to somebody else. Um, and using the other products as well, all online. That has definitely been a huge trend for us that we saw. And like I said, we have been very diligent to ensure that we are evolving to
Mm-hmm.
the different needs that are coming forward to us as people start to become more digitally active within their banking. So we have had to pivot, I would say, for sure, and expedite a lot of, let's say, our enhancements that were
Yeah.
probably going to come 5 years from now. But with the change in trends, we had to,
SWB audio
move that along a
capture
lot
not
faster,
registered.
Yeah.
and got us into a good position to be able to meet our clients' needs. And it's so important with being a digital bank that we ensure that we are still easy and convenient, and the reassurance of it being safe and secure. That is sometimes a question or a concern that folks have, and obviously we have all of those kind of gates in place to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that the client's information is safe. It's the same security that you would expect from let's say, a bank that has physical presence, all of that
Right.
applies to the digital banking world, and definitely for us, and something that we take very seriously. Um, so, I would say for and again, from a demographic perspective, we've seen it's not just the younger folk who are into digital banking. It's definitely, I would say, the older generation that was probably not comfortable with it before, but because you have, everybody has a phone,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what age you are, right? So if you've got a phone, you can do your banking online. And I think that's one of the other ahas that I think people who are hesitant to move towards digital banking were put at ease, that once you start using, the fact that you can bank from anywhere, you could be in your house, you could be doing your groceries, whatever it might be, your banking moves with you. And that's definitely kind of a service commitment that we provide at Simply, is that you can bank from anywhere, and it is absolutely possible. And we do make it quite seamless for you to be able to do that. So I think once people started using online
SWB
digital
audio
banking more and
captured,
more during
not
this period, because it
registered.
was almost like a forced
Mm-hmm.
kind of habit, they were put way more at ease to say, okay, I can do this, and there's a lot of support that's provided as well, to get you over that threshold, or that transition from traditional banking to digital banking.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a kind of a digital literacy thing, and we've seen just that increase so much over the past year. People are way more comfortable, and for me, it's the convenience. It's once you realize just how convenient it is to move everything digitally. I mean,
That's right.
it makes so much sense, and it's just so deeply convenient through my day to day life. So, Rahini, how do you feel about moving forward and talking a little bit about eligibility for bank accounts in Canada?
Yes, for sure. And I don't know if we wanted to touch a little bit more about the banking offer first
Yeah,
before we move there,
for sure.
just so that everybody, and we will come back to this, and we are happy to take more questions on what our offering specifically is. But at a very high level, obviously all the advantages of easy and convenient banking. The account opening process is
Hmm.
completely digital end to end, so you can do it, again, you can open your account from anywhere. As
Yeah,
long as you've got a device that allows you to be on the internet, you can do it.
yeah, and we're
Whether
gonna
it's
talk about the details for that, especially for overseas people in a minute.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then along with that, within the banking offer that we have for new Canadians is, obviously having a no fee account. Again, this is probably a concept that is very well known and received in other countries where you
Hmm.
have never had to pay for a bank account. But in
SWB
Canada,
audio
it is not
captured,
always the
not
case. There's
registered.
definitely a big mix of no fee accounts and accounts where you do have to pay fees, and actually paying fees is more so, I would say, the norm than not. So what's great about our offering is we've never had fees. You will never have to pay fees.
Mm,
um,
okay.
and also, you do not need any minimum balances. So this is, again, usually a requirement that people and a roadblock people stumble into, to say, well, if I don't have to pay fees, then that means I have to keep a whole bunch of money in my account, which I can't afford to do because I need to actually use my money.
Right.
So we don't have those requirements. And again, being able to do unlimited transactions, whether that's withdrawing your funds, sending email money transfers, or using it for purchases, there's no limit to what you can do with that, which is really great. Again, all at no fees.
Cool.
Um, the other one which we have talked about is obviously the cashback credit card, which is great. Definitely check that out and look at all the different benefits that you get. But
Hmm.
being able to get up to $10,000, I can tell you, is definitely handy, and not, again, not something
Yeah,
that's common.
like hugely beneficial for newcomers,
That's
and
right.
as you said, not terribly common either.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
The next one is pretty interesting, because this is, again, very unique to Simply. This is a service that we provide, which is called global money transfer. Now,
Hmm.
probably um, the use for this is probably one of the most immediate needs that folks have when they do arrive in Canada. It's okay, I'm coming to Canada to build my life, but I still want to be able to take care of my family and friends back home. And a lot of times that is the need. That is what you are coming and leaving your home behind to start a new life in a different place to be able to provide. So with this service, what's great, again, you pay
SWB
no
audio
fees
capture,
to
not
transfer funds
registered.
from your Canadian account to over 70 countries worldwide,
Okay.
and send money to your loved ones abroad. And the service is all online. The money is usually received within, I would say, 3 to 5 business days, usually within the 3 business day mark. It's very fast, very convenient. And what's great is that you can also get $50 when you send your first transfer. So again, this whole idea of being able to get something back for doing something, and I can tell you this is definitely not one that is common in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
People who usually have to send money abroad end up paying fees to kind of a middleman or
Yeah.
in between, like between you and the receiving country. So this is absolutely free for all your transfers. And like I said, it's very fast, very safe, very convenient. You get notifications that your money is on its way when it's arrived, when you've sent it. So you're in the loop and you have full kind of transparency to where your money is in that journey. So this
Great.
is a really great kind of service here that is part of our banking package for newcomers, and definitely something I know for a fact people find very useful. Canada being such a multicultural country as it is, there's a very good chance that one in two families in Canada have somebody abroad that they're
Mm-hmm.
sending money for different things, right? Again, gifting or taking care of something, paying fees,
Yeah.
being able to help your family abroad, which again, a huge um, kind of benefit during COVID when you physically couldn't go back and travel with all the travel restrictions
SWB
that we
audio
faced.
capture, not
Being able to
registered.
do that online, again, from the comfort and the safety of your home, like that was really amazing.
Yeah, especially with all the financial uncertainty that was floating around to, different degrees
That's
for
right.
different people in different countries. But sort of related to the global money transfer, just before you wrap up the last point here, Rohini, we did have a question come through ahead of time that I think is this is a good time to ask it. It came from Moses, who's asking about transferring money from your home country to Canada. So the other way around, like people asking about the possibility for doing that with Simply. And
Yes, you absolutely can. So once you open your account, you can start transferring funds into that account from your in your home currency, whatever currency that you are using there. That can be used to transfer funds. So that is absolutely something you can do.
great. And I'm just going to repeat that I had a little audio glitch on my end. So you said that yes, it is possible to transfer from
That's
your
right.
home country to
Once your
Canada.
account is open, yes, exactly.
Perfect. Great. And we had another great question come in here from Ryan. Let me see if I can scroll back up and find it. Ryan was asking about mortgage opportunities with Simply. I know for a lot of people planning out their sort of longer term financial journey in Canada, mortgages are important. So Ryan was asking to Simply offer the same kind of mortgage offerings like other banks in Canada.
Yes, for sure. We do have a really great kind of range of mortgages that you can look into with us. Very, very competitive rates. We have a great team that will help guide you through this journey of, it is a very stressful process to, kind of start to think about buying a home, let alone doing
SWB
it
audio
when you are new
capture,
to a
not
country. And there's
registered.
Yeah.
so many other things to figure out. Um, but there are many different options that you can inquire about with Simplii, and it's definitely something that I encourage everybody to look into. And finding the right rate that works for you and your finances. Like I said, there's a lot of guidance and help to be able to navigate that.
Amazing. And Rohini, maybe you can cover the last point here on the slide about the value that you receive from Simplii. And just while you do that, folks, I'm going to screencast just the New to Canada Banking website. So this is the page that you'll land on when you click that pinned link. So I'll just scroll through here so you guys can see what it looks like. And Rohini, I'll hand it back over to you just to handle the value that people get when working with
For
Simplii.
sure. For sure. So, the value that's mentioned here, the up to $1,300 that you would get, this is a combination of all the savings that you are basically seeing with our banking package. So, not paying any bank account fees. Normally, you would have, so the value of basically having free banking, having the value of not actually paying for your credit card, because again, not to mention paying for your credit card that actually has benefits that gives you something back. In Canada, it's very common to pay an annual fee for your credit card. Again, our cashback card is no fee, so there's the value earned on that. With Global Money Transfer as well, because there are no transfer fees. So normally, if you were to send money abroad, you would be having, like I mentioned, to pay these transfer fees. You don't have to pay any of that. Plus, you get something back, which is really great. The other interesting piece about our program and banking with Simplii is that we have a refer a friend program, which adds to this value of the 1,300 that
SWB
we show
audio
here.
capture,
Because basically,
not
what you can do
registered.
is, once you've opened your account and start banking with us, you can actually refer your friends and family who are here to open their account. And once they do, you get $50 and they get $50, which is really great. And there is no cap. If you have, and you're very popular, you have 100 friends and you want all of them to join Simplii, which I very much encourage that you encourage your friends to do that. You can do that. And Yeah, so that value that you're getting with our referral program is very rich. And again, not having a cap on how many people you can refer to is definitely a huge benefit. And again, not common that you would find with other banking packages here.
Cool, 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 cool. And I just pulled that up there and showed off the friend referral bonus here. So people can see that. Again, guys, if you want to read that for yourselves, click the link there in the pinned comment. I sadly do not have 100 friends, though hopefully by the end of this live stream, Rohini, I can count you as a friend. So I'm
That's
up to
right. There you
one
go.
friend.
One
Killing
more
it.
friend. There you go. Well, it's a great
Um,
way to make friends, right? Because you can say, well, they get the $50 too. So you can try that as
you
an
said
opening
it.
line. Let me
um,
know how that goes.
Great. So let's hop over into the eligibility criteria. So we're going to talk a bit more broadly about like the broader eligibility requirements to open a bank account. And obviously, Rohini, you can't speak to every bank's eligibility criteria for every type of account, but we'll talk sort of broadly what newcomers need to be aware of. And then again, we're going to do a deeper dive into the overseas account
SWB
opening
audio
process, who's
capture,
eligible to do that
not
and how to do
registered.
that, and answer these like 20 questions that we've got that have
For
come in about
sure.
that.
For sure. So I won't spend maybe too much time on what you would normally need to open an account in Canada. I'll start with what we can do for you. So really, for clients, you can start your application before you arrive in Canada, which is again really great. So while you're still in your home country and you're figuring out all your paperwork and how you're going to make the move, you can start that process right from there. And like I said, once you've opened the account, you can fund that account through the different currencies and then the foreign currencies that you are using in your home country. So that is
Great.
very seamless. very straightforward. And actually, if we did want to just quickly jump to the next slide, because that
Yeah.
gives us a bit more information on what you would need. Really, you need basically two things. You need to provide a photo, which you again take online through a selfie. I think everybody in the world knows how to take a selfie, so that is not a foreign concept. So you take the picture during the application process, and you scan your passport of passport that you hold, which basically allows you to open the account. So that is really all you need. At this stage, during the account opening process, we don't need to verify your immigration status or the paperwork that you are, because a lot of times people are still figuring those pieces out. So we do not
Okay.
require that. But once you have opened the account, and you've sent funds into your account, you can start doing that.
SWB audio
Once you
capture,
arrive here,
not
you can then
registered.
activate the account by submitting those immigration documents. So
Mm,
whether you came
okay.
in as a student, a permanent resident, port of entry letter, whatever your documentation is, we will then collect that information from you once you arrive here. But yeah, in order to open the account, you can be at whatever stage of your immigration process and paperwork at that point.
Great. I've got a couple of questions about the opening process with Simplii here. So first of all, Vicky asked a great question. How far in advance before your move? She asks, should you set up a bank account? Like, how far in advance should you set up a bank account? But I guess Rohini, how far in advance are you able to set up the bank account as well?
So I believe, and Miriam, please correct me if I'm incorrect in the comments, but I believe you can do it from 12 months before.
From 12 months
Right.
before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if there's a more specific window, Miriam, please add that to the comments. That would be great.
Great. Oh, and actually, I'm just opening the Simplii page here, and it does on the Simplii site. We've got them stating, apply if you're within 12 months of your arrival date. Grab your
Yeah.
passport and take a selfie, so you can get started then. Great. And we've got a bunch of questions on this section, Rohini. So
Yeah,
hope
that's
you're ready
fine.
to dig deep.
Well, let's see.
Kenny asked, there was I think maybe a glitch with the audio. So, uh, yeah, about transferring money from Canada to the US are there any fees attached to transferring the money from Canada to a US account
SWB
or
audio
vice versa
capture,
from a
not
US account
registered.
into a Canadian account?
Well, so definitely for us sending money to the US, there's no transfer fees. You would have to pay
Great.
the exchange rate fee. Obviously, that is again a common concept that everybody's aware of. That in order to convert the money from Canadian to US, you would be charged the exchange rate at that point. But to actually make the transfer from our account, there are no fees.
Great. Okay. Amazing. And then a couple questions about the process for like how long it takes to set it up. Vicky also asked us how fast can this process be done typically. And Nan was also asking how long does it take to open a bank account with Simplii. So do you have any insight into that, Rohini?
For sure. So the actual account opening process, as mentioned, that where you are required to take a selfie, like a picture, and then upload and scan your passport. That process, sometimes it's minutes. Sometimes it really is that convenient and fast. But if there's any concerns or you don't get that confirmation email right after, once you've opened that account, I'm sure they could look into it, but that is very rare. So I would say at the very least within the day, the account is opened.
Okay, amazing. And people are asked, let's see what other questions we can cover here. I see some people asking, are the offers for the lifetime of the Simplii account or credit card, or is it just for the first year of banking? Because I know some banks have
Yes.
these newcomer offers, but they stop after the first year. Is that
Yes,
how it works with Simply?
that's a great question. And the good news is, like I mentioned, we know your
Okay.
the no fee feature of our
SWB audio
account and
capture,
our
not
credit card
registered.
is a permanent feature, which is again a load off a lot of people's minds, because that is definitely a concern. Once you start to get your products here, suddenly the fees roll in after the first year, and they're like, oh, great, you're not, you know, not eligible anymore. So they take all those perks away. Your perks stay with you for the lifetime of your journey with us, which is, again, a very great reason to stay with us, because it only goes up. There's only more rewards that you can benefit from being a client with us, and holding multiple products. So
Okay.
definitely the no fees, there are no fees for the lifetime.
Great. That's amazing. No fees for the lifetime of the account. Um, so Tom is asking us a bit more about the immigration documents. So I'm just going to clarify what you mentioned here, Ricky,
Yes.
make sure that I understood correctly, and then hopefully that means everyone else will have understood correctly.
For sure.
To open the account with Simply, you actually don't need your immigration status documents to get started. All you need is the photo and the passport. You can open it while you're abroad before you've ever set foot in Canada. And then once you receive those immigration status documents, if that's your port of entry, letter of introduction, if that's your study permit, your PR card, your work permit, whatever it is, at that point you can bring that to Simply and I guess activate the account.
Yes,
Okay, great.
that is
Because
correct.
Tom was asking, is there a way to, oh, and Tom is asking, I guess, about the activation process.
Mhm.
Is there a way to activate the Simply account without the proper immigration papers? If I open it in person, specifically, Tom is saying, I'm a visitor in Canada, so I don't have a visa. Although technically visitors are, if you're if you're here legally, you should have like
SWB
a type
audio
of legal
capture,
status in Canada
not
as a visitor. Do you know if
registered.
that's possible?
So that's right. So you need to, so in order to activate your account, that can only happen after you arrive in Canada. And again, the assumption is that you are allowed to arrive in Canada because you had the right paperwork. So whatever that documentation is, that is what you would submit to us. So again, we will get in touch with you once you arrive, and we will ask for the documentation papers, and be able to then, based on what you have submitted, be able to activate that account for you, so that you can actually start using it in Canada. Once you activate it, and everything's been verified and kind of looked at accurately, and everything looks good, you will get your new card in the mail, through actually via courier, and you would then just phone in to set up a PIN. Again, having a PIN on your card is probably a little bit more common in Canada, not so common in other countries, but this is a safety and security feature that there's a PIN number that's unique to you, that only you should
Mm-hmm.
have, that you need in order to use your account, and your card at different places. Um, Obviously, up to a certain level, you don't always have to use your PIN to make the purchase, depending on what the card issuer would allow you to, with via tap, because again, that's again very
Right.
common practice. Like you were saying, I just use my phone. I don't actually have
Mm-hmm.
the physical card ever. So in order to be able to tap that, you do not need to use your PIN up to a certain amount. But yeah, so you would then activate your card, and get set up with the PIN over the phone.
Great.
So that's what
Yeah,
the process looks like. So if you do not have the right documentation, then your account cannot be activated for sure.
that's fair. And I suppose if people do have questions about very specific document
SWB
types,
audio
Yes.
it would be
capture,
best to
not
contact Simply
registered.
and
Yes.
request more information.
Yes. For
Um,
sure.
I did get an interesting question here from Chris, who's asking about the social insurance number. So social insurance number, it's I'm going to try to explain it right now. It's a 9-digit number that the Canadian government uses to identify people who are in Canada, and through that
Right.
regulate a number of services. So like you might apply for your health care, or you might complete your income taxes and like attach that number so they know who you are.
Yes.
Often you need this number to do a lot of things in Canada. But is the social insurance number a requirement to open a bank account with Simply?
Yes, so that is definitely something you need. And the social insurance number, like you said, identifies you based on what status you have. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like, let's say if you're a permanent resident versus a student, your number starts with a different digit, and that's
Right.
how we identify you. So yes, that would be
That's
required.
a component of the activation process.
Yes,
I'm assuming, but you could
yes,
still
exactly.
do the
Not
all.
to not to open the account. Yeah,
Right.
not to
Yeah.
open the account. Yeah.
Excellent. Just wanted to clarify there. Um, and then Nadini, this is a bit of a specific question, so I don't know if you'll be able to answer this. Rohini, maybe Miriam can jump in here, but Nadini's asking if I'm referring my friends, do I have to already have my account activated, or if it's just been like opened from overseas, but Nadini hasn't brought their documents yet to Canada to activate it? Do they still get that $50 bonus?
Oh, and sorry, just to correct my answer on the last question, you actually don't even need a SIN for activating your
Oh,
account for this one.
okay.
So thanks for correcting that, Miriam. And just want to check, is Miriam still able to
SWB audio
put
capture, not registered.
comments in the webinar? Is that
I am
going
seeing
okay?
Miriam's comments appearing here in the comment
Okay,
thread
perfect.
as I am going. Facebook can sometimes be a little glitchy and it only shows. Facebook can just be a little glitchy, but I
Yes,
see them coming in here, so we'll just leave
got
it at
it.
that.
Okay.
Great. So we're actually a little bit over time here, but I do want to give you just another chance to just go over the. So we've been talking about the Simplii Financial New to Canada banking program. Moving on to the next slide here, Rohini. So just before we wrap up the live stream, do you want to take a minute and just talk people through some of the benefits of this account, some of the account offerings? I know we just talked in detail about the overseas account opening process. And while you do this, I'm going to pull open
Yes.
the account offer page. And again, guys, if you want to access this page, just click the link in the pinned comment there.
For sure. So, starting off with the best benefit is honestly being able to open the account digitally. The process is very convenient. It's very fast. It's very easy. That is again a huge hurdle sometimes in being able to do this, and simply makes it just so much more stress-free
Mm,
for something. It's just one more thing on your list that you have to do and have to worry about, and we make it not so much of a big worry for you being able to do this seamlessly online. The benefits of no fee banking over your lifetime is a huge one. So again, not having to worry about getting dinged with fees. Okay, can I make this transaction? Can I send the money? Not having to worry about that, and being able to actually live your life and do what you need to do, and focus on the other more important pieces for settling your life in
SWB
Canada,
audio
which are
capture,
definitely more
not
important than having to worry
registered.
about fees that you're paying with your bank account. Again, with the credit card being part of the no fee kind of category that we offer,
right.
and having that higher limit and being able to start your credit history in Canada is a huge one. And not having any credit history in order to apply for the credit card, again, a huge benefit. Sending money, whether through email money transfers locally or sending money abroad to your friends and family, making that seamless, making that very easy, fast, secure, with low money transfer. Again, a huge benefit. And then, the access to actually having, so let's say if you did want cash, people may be wondering, well, if we're a digital bank, how do I actually get my physical cash?
Mm,
Well, the great thing is that we're actually the digital banking arm of Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, CIBC. And so you can, wherever you see a CIBC ATM, you can insert your card and get access to your cash through there. We have ATMs across Canada, making it again very accessible. available. We have 24/7 support, and as I mentioned, with free transfers of funds, whether locally or abroad as well. We have a great team in our call centers who support this, and being able to answer your questions, which is
Okay.
really nice.
Amazing. And I've just highlighted both of those on the page. It's 3,400 CIBC ATMs. That's a
That's
lot.
right.
It sounds like a lot of ATMs, but
It
I
is
always
a
get
lot of
confused when I'm like,
ATMs.
it's like an entire country. It
It
sounds
is.
it sounds like a ton. Great. So look, Rohini, thank you so much for highlighting all of this for us. Here, let me pull back up to the top of this page for people. Again, if you want more information,
SWB
click
audio
the link in the pinned
capture,
comment.
not
Check out the New to
registered.
Canada banking program with Simplii Financial. Just a couple of final points here before we wrap up. I do see some people asking about watching this later, and there may have been a couple people having a bit of technical issues partway through. We're going to upload this to our YouTube channel by tomorrow, so you can check out. It's Moving to Canada. It's the same as our name on Facebook on YouTube, and so this whole recording will be up on YouTube if you do want to rewatch a part or learn. If you missed the first part, we had some people helping in late, and you want to watch the whole thing from the beginning, you can check that out on our YouTube channel. Just before we wrap up for today, any final things you'd like to highlight, Rohini?
No, just that, please do look us up. We are eager to even hear from you. Get in touch with us. Tell us your feedback, questions that you have, not just about what you've heard today, any other questions you have. We're always looking to improve ourselves. And, that's a commitment we make to our clients. So we'd love to hear from you. So please do get in touch, and happy to answer any questions. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to speak to you. And we hope everybody watching will soon be in Canada if you're not in Canada, and we'll see you on this side.
Yeah, hopefully not too far from now. And I'm just scrolling through the page that we've linked here. You can contact simply just using this little form that's right here, or you can leave a comment in the thread here. So look, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the live stream today. We hope we were able to bring you some new knowledge about managing your finances, getting your banking started in Canada, or even before you arrive in Canada, which is super cool. And thank you, Rohini. It's been a pleasure to have you on our first live stream together. You've been a wonderful guest, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share all of your knowledge with our audience.
Thank you so much.
SWB audio capture,
And
not registered.
Excellent. We make banking fun.
Fun.
Great. So thank you guys again so much. You'll be able to rewatch this on our Facebook page in a couple minutes, or it will be up on our YouTube channel tomorrow. Thanks again, and we will see you next time we go live. Bye.